Section 410.30 of the National Electrical Code, often abbreviated as NEC, outlines specific requirements for cord-connected electric discharge luminaires. To legally and safely cord-connect an electric discharge luminaire, compliance with both subsection 1 and 2 of this section is mandatory. First, the luminaire must be located directly below the outlet or busway. Secondly, several conditions related to the cord itself must be met. Specifically, the cord must be visible for its entire length outside the luminaire. The cord should not be subjected to strain or physical damage. The cord needs to be terminated in a grounding type attachment plug cap or busway plug, or be part of a listed assembly incorporating a manufactured wiring system connector in accordance with section 604.6c, or the luminaire assembly needs to have a strain relief and canopy. The installation you have described appears to have 400-watt metal halide fixtures independently hung from an outlet box. The fixtures are equipped with an 8-foot cord, but lack a cord cap. The cords are connected within a 4-square box using a cord connector and are hardwired. Given these details, it is important to assess whether any exceptions to section 410.30 exist that might permit this type of installation. Based on the code, the standard requirement is to use a grounding type attachment plug cap on the end of the cord. If the setup lacks a grounding type attachment plug cap, the installation would not fully comply with section 410.30 code. However, an exception found in section 410.30c2 might apply. This section allows for the use of a listed assembly incorporating a manufactured wiring system connector, provided it complies with section 604.6c. To determine whether this exception is applicable, you must verify 2 key factors. 1. Confirm that the cord is indeed part of a listed assembly that incorporates a manufactured wiring system connector. 2. Ensure that the manufactured wiring system connector complies fully with section 604.6c of the NEC. If both conditions are satisfied, the exception will permit the installation without the grounding type attachment plug cap. As a general recommendation, always use a grounding type attachment plug cap for cord-connected electric discharge luminaires to ensure NEC compliance. If you believe that the exception in section 410.30c2 applies, consulting with a qualified electrician is highly recommended. A qualified electrician can accurately confirm the specific details and ensure that all aspects of the installation meet the NEC requirements. By adhering to these guidelines and seeking expert advice when necessary, you can ensure both safety and code compliance in your electrical installations. In summary, the considerations surrounding section 410.30 code are paramount in ensuring a safe and compliant electrical setup. This section of the National Electrical Code, or NEC, directly addresses the stipulations for cord-connected electric discharge luminaires. These luminaires, commonly found in various commercial and industrial settings, necessitate careful adherence to these rules to prevent potential electrical hazards and to conform to regulatory standards. The primary stipulation within 410.30 code is that to properly and legally utilize a cord-connected electric discharge luminaire, both subsections 1 and 2 of this section must be fully satisfied. Subsection 1 mandates that the luminaire be positioned directly beneath the outlet or busway from which it draws power. This vertical alignment is critical for ensuring that the cord's pathway is as direct and unobstructed as possible, thereby minimizing the risk of strain or damage to the electrical connections. Subsection 2 broadens the scope, placing specific demands on the characteristics and setup of the cord itself. Firstly, the cord must be visible along its entire length external to the luminaire. This requirement is not merely aesthetic, it is a safety measure. By ensuring the cord is fully visible, any signs of wear, fraying, or physical damage can be quickly identified during routine inspections. Concealed cords, on the other hand, could potentially harbor hidden faults that might escalate into more significant safety concerns. Secondly, the cord must be protected from strain or physical damage. This condition underscores the need for a secure and stable installation. The cord should not be stretched taut, subjected to sharp bends, or exposed to environmental factors that could compromise its integrity. Proper strain relief mechanisms and protective conduits may be necessary to meet this requirement, particularly in environments where physical stress in the cord is anticipated. Thirdly, the cord must be terminated appropriately, and several options are provided under this condition. The standard and perhaps most straightforward termination method involves the use of a grounding type attachment plug cap. This type of plug cap provides a secure and grounded electrical connection, enhancing safety and reducing the risk of electrical shock. Alternatively, a busway plug can be used if the power source is a busway system. An important exception to this requirement is found in section 410.30C2, which allows for the use of a listed assembly incorporating a manufactured wiring system connector, provided that it complies with section 604.6C. This exception recognizes the advancements in wiring technology and the availability of pre-engineered systems designed for rapid and reliable installation. However, it is crucial to verify that the entire assembly, including the connector, is both listed by a recognized testing laboratory and fully compliant with section 604.6C. Another permissible termination method involves the use of a luminaire assembly that includes both a strain relief mechanism and a canopy. The strain relief ensures that the electrical connections within the luminaire are not subjected to undue stress, while the canopy provides a protective cover for the wiring, enhancing both safety and aesthetics. Now, considering the specific installation scenario, for instance, one that involves 400-watt metal halide fixtures independently hung from an outlet box. These fixtures come equipped with an 8-foot cord but lack a cord cap. The cords are connected within a 4-square box using a cord connector and are hardwired. In such a scenario, careful analysis is required to determine whether the setup meets the NEC requirements. The absence of a grounding type attachment plug cap immediately raises a red flag. As previously mentioned, section 410.30 CON generally mandates the use of such a cap. However, it is essential to explore whether any exceptions might apply. The most relevant exception is the one provided in section 410.30C2, which permits the use of a listed assembly incorporating a manufactured wiring system connector, assuming it complies with section 604.6C. To invoke this exception successfully, you must verify that the cord is indeed part of a listed assembly that includes a manufactured wiring system connector. This requires a thorough review of the product specifications and documentation to confirm that the assembly has been tested and listed by a recognized testing laboratory. Furthermore, you must ensure that the manufactured wiring system connector fully complies with section 604.6C of the NEC. This section outlines specific requirements for the design, construction, and performance of these connectors. Compliance typically involves ensuring that the connector is properly rated for the intended voltage and current, that it provides a secure and reliable electrical connection, and that it is suitable for the environmental conditions in which it will be used. If both of these conditions are met, the exception would indeed permit the installation without the need for a grounding type attachment plug cap. In general, using a grounding type attachment plug cap for cord-connected electric discharge luminaires is a prudent and recommended practice. It provides an additional layer of safety and helps to ensure compliance with the NEC. However, if you believe that the exception in section 410.30C2 applies to your installation, seeking expert advice from a qualified electrician is essential. A qualified electrician possesses the knowledge, skills, and experience necessary to evaluate the installation thoroughly and to determine whether it meets all applicable code requirements. They can also provide guidance on any necessary modifications or upgrades to ensure compliance and safety. By adhering to these guidelines and seeking expert advice when needed, you can ensure that your electrical installations are not only safe but also fully compliant with the National Electrical Code. A key part of ensuring NEC compliance and safety is to also understand the role of listing and labeling of electrical equipment. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories or Intertek. Listing and labeling signifies that the equipment has been tested and found to comply with applicable safety standards. This provides assurance that the equipment is suitable for its intended use and that it meets minimum safety requirements. For cord-connected luminaires, the listing and labeling should cover the entire assembly, including the cord, the connector, and the luminaire itself. The labeling should include information such as the manufacturer's name, model number, voltage rating, current rating, and any applicable safety warnings. It is essential to verify that the equipment you are using is properly listed and labeled before installing it. Using non-listed or counterfeit equipment can pose serious safety hazards, including electrical shock, fire, and equipment failure. Another important consideration is the proper use of cord connectors. Cord connectors are used to connect flexible cords to electrical boxes or equipment. They provide a secure and strain relief connection, preventing the cord from being pulled or damaged. When selecting a cord connector, it is important to choose one that is properly sized for the cord being used. The connector should also be listed for the intended application. Proper installation of cord connectors is also crucial. The connector should be tightened securely to ensure a tight and reliable connection. Over-tightening can damage the cord, while under-tightening can result in a loose connection. In addition to the requirements for cord-connected luminaires, the NEC also includes requirements for the support and mounting of luminaires. Section 410.16 of the NEC specifies the requirements for the support of luminaires. Luminaires must be securely supported to prevent them from falling or creating a hazard. The support method must be appropriate for the weight and size of the luminaire. For example, heavy luminaires may require additional support such as chains or rods. The mounting of luminaires must also comply with the NEC requirements. Section 410.130 through 410.136 of the NEC specifies the requirements for the wiring of luminaires. The wiring must be properly sized and insulated to prevent overheating and electrical shock. The wiring must also be protected from physical damage. When wiring luminaires, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. Improper wiring can result in equipment failure or safety hazards. Finally, it is important to note that the NEC is a complex and constantly evolving document. It is essential to stay up to date on the latest code requirements to ensure compliance and safety. One way to do this is to attend continuing education courses or seminars on the NEC. It is also helpful to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector when you have questions about the code. In addition to the NEC, there may be other applicable codes and standards that apply to your electrical installations. For example, local building codes may have additional requirements for electrical work. It is important to check with your local authorities to determine which codes and standards apply in your area. By following these guidelines and seeking expert advice when needed, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe, compliant, and reliable. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to err on the side of caution. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you.